Good morning, everybody. My name is Helana Black, and this is our usual Wednesday AM Meditative Writing Circle. Our topic for today is a celebration of life that was shared to us by our good friend, uh, Miss Carolyn Jones. So she's the one who organized the topic for us today. So we thank her in advance for sharing it with us today. And the celebration of life, what is it all about? It's really all about thinking about how it is that we celebrate ourselves in the everyday. We don't have to sit and wait for all of the big things that we think we need to be able to celebrate, but we want to celebrate ourselves in the everyday. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. But as always, we just start off slowly with a nice gentle meditation, which I invite you to join me on. Um, so if you'd like, you can sit where you are and put your feet flat on the floor and just sit comfortably just for a couple of minutes today. You can just sort of breathe naturally on your own. And as you sit with your feet flat on the floor, if you can imagine there being sort of like a golden light coming from the bottom of your feet that attaches you to the earth to help you to feel centered. Whatever it is that you have else going on, this attachment will help you to feel like you can leave it for the time being and just kind of shift your focus over to yourself and just some of the many reasons that you have to be able to celebrate yourself for today, for all the many things that you've been able to come through in your life that allow you to be here in the circle with us today. Just take a couple of deep breaths on your own. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So again, we're talking about celebrating our own lives and why celebrating our own lives is important. Sometimes we get so bogged down and involved in what it is that we aren't doing correctly and the things that are not going well. So we're going to take a few moments to sit down and write about what we do well. So the first question is, in what ways do I honor my personal growth and milestones, both big and small? In what ways do I honor my personal growth and milestones, both big and small? And I'm going to copy that down into the chat so you can read it as well. In what ways do I honor my personal growth and milestones, both big and small? I'll put 7 minutes on the clock. So the question is, in what ways do I honor my personal growth and milestones, both big and small? If anyone would like to share what you've written, you can read what you've written, or you can just sort of talk about in general what it is that you've written down. That's wonderful to hear as well. Miss Carolyn, she says she's on the move this morning, so she can't, I don't think she's able to put herself on audio. So she says she takes herself out for a good meal or she cooks one. She says I might go to the movies, a museum, a botanical garden, or for a self-care activity like acupuncture or a massage. I might binge write or design. Sometimes I just stay by myself and revel in the warmth of accomplishment. That's beautiful. I love it. Anyone else?
Hi, Alana. It's Claire. Um, Kind of in line with Carolyn in some areas. But I usually start by thanking God and giving him the glory and honoring him for the ability to do whatever it is that has been put before me. Um, and like Carolyn, I might share a meal with someone, go out, just share my good news, do some personal care, like maybe get my nails done. And the worst, I might go shopping guilt free. I deserve this. I did something. So, those are some things I might do.
I love it. That's beautiful. Nothing wrong with shopping.
I got a closet of shoes to prove it.
For myself, I like to, well, I get to go to the beach because I live at the beach. So that's a nice thing to be able to do. Y'all are quiet today. We gotta, let's see. There's 17 of us on here today, and everybody's quiet.
I'll go.
Yes, Sakai.
I want to say is I don't think I like really I love the question because it makes me think, oh, you need to do a little more to
Mhm.
celebrate and honor milestones. And I think of like when my children came and new positions at work and things. And I thought about when I think of milestones, I automatically think of accomplishments.
Mhm.
And when I achieve something, I just breathe deeper. I take that big breath and smile. I take a beat. Just like yesterday, to me, it was a milestone because I was applying for this um, portfolio thing that I was doing, and I requested testing accommodations, and they kept saying no, 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 no. And this is why A, B, C, X, Y, Z. But I kept on pushing, pushing, and I got it yesterday. So just my exulting in that success, I screamed. I literally leapt for joy. And knowing all the steps I had to go through to get on the other side of the organization telling me no, I allowed the universe to celebrate. Like, you look, I'm so happy. So even the sun seems to shine brighter, the music I enjoy more. So I'm really happy. I think I celebrate by knowing that the strategy I used, I can use again and again, especially for more important things.
Mhm.
And by the way, I have the same joy. If I have a financial goal and I get a penny more to go, I'm just happy, happy. So I just, inside myself, I just rejoice. That's
Mhm.
how I celebrate.
Beautiful. I love it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, I'll go.
Yes,
Good
tequila.
morning.
Good morning.
I think I celebrate, I honor myself in small ways every day,
Mhm,
just through natural, like prioritizing my self-care for
mhm,
my physical, mental, and spiritual needs. When I read the question, I think where I got stuck was that I don't really honor myself in big ways, and big, if big means, like how what I would consider big for other people.
mhm,
So, if it's like one of my kids or grandkids or family members, a big celebration is like, going out somewhere, doing something, big. I don't do that for myself. Um, and so it just made the question made me realize that I need to do more of that.
mhm. I would agree. Well, I can say I can relate to that for myself. As I get older, I feel like, why sometimes for certain things, it's like, well, why do I need to celebrate things? Whereas when I was younger, my grandparents and my parents would, make a big deal out of certain things. Um, but we tend to do that less for ourselves as we grow up into older adults. And so the question certainly makes me sit down and think about, well, how do I, you know, celebrate things for myself? Lauren says she's outside, so it's very loud where she is. No problem, Lauren. He said, but it helps her to realize that she needs to honor herself more intentionally and not only as a reminder of how far she's come. I would agree.
This is Fatty. Good
Yes,
morning.
Bugsy.
It is very early in the morning for me right now, so I'm sorry I'm not presentable at the moment, but I'm here. Um, I do a lot of like what Carolyn was saying, I do a lot of that. However, there's one thing I was introduced to that gives me renewal
Mhm,
monthly. I don't know if any of you have done Korean scrubs, Korean baths.
mhm,
But I do Korean baths. I try to celebrate my life once a month by doing a Korean bath. When they do a Korean bath, wash, they scrub you in all parts of your body. However, you're in a position of almost like being an infant, because you lay there and they move your body parts and they scrub you and they take care of you and you kind of surrender.
mhm,
And you're in a surrendering situation where you just give in and you
mhm,
allow things to, allow them to do whatever they're doing, scrubbing you down and cleaning you. And then there's oil on the body. It's almost like a beautiful process that you go through. So when it's over with, and I do, the steam and all that kind of stuff, when it's over with, it's almost like it's a rebirth for me. And I
mhm,
do it once a month. So for me, that's one of the big things that I do to celebrate life for myself. If I don't do that, I feel lost, believe it or not.
mhm,
And I just started doing that this year. But I do the other things. I do massages. I do it on a regular basis. I go to um, what do you call it? The baths. The we have I live in Colorado, so we
mhm,
have ancient waters, the Native American ancient waters, and they pull out ailments, things like that. So I do things like that. I do everything that I can do to kind of just give myself a refresh. It's like a refresh. But I'm telling you, if you haven't done a Korean bath or a Korean scrub, I suggest that for everyone. It's very it's very enlightening. It's very, very enlightening. But that's one of the big things I do. I do all the other small things too, but I should be doing things daily. I normally do it like monthly. I always have it scheduled. I scheduled these things in my day or in my month to do it. So I definitely do them. But I think it's real important to schedule these things so that you do them. We schedule to do other things, but we
mhm.
don't schedule sometimes to do things to help ourselves, for self-care and things like that. I'm, d-
Absolutely.
I'm done.
Like,
Fati, I want to say
Uh,
thank you so much because yesterday I was thinking how can I get a Korean scrub? There's nothing here where I live.
Uh-huh.
And your response made me realize that I can once a month drive an hour north and go and do that get that for myself. Thank you so much. When I was in Korea, that was my favorite thing
Yes.
that I had experienced. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And just to let you know, I'm looking forward to going to Korea to get one there so I can see what it's really like because I know it's
Okay.
different when it comes to the United States.
Well, message me afterwards. I'll put my email or phone number or something in the chat because I have lots of stories to tell you about that.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I love it. That's what I missed about living in Asia. What they
Mm.
have here in Mexico, they I had gone to do what is that when you go into like the sweat lodges?
Yes, I do that here a lot. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, the it has a name. If somebody can help me with the name, because
Oh,
I forget the name of what it is that they call it, because there's a formal name of it. But it's a really beautiful
oh,
ceremony where you spend a couple of hours sitting in steam with other people, and there's herbs, and it's super hot, and it's a beautiful ritual. And so I haven't done it every month. I probably every other month that I've been here that I've done it, and it's a beautiful experience. But I really miss those scrubs, living Korean scrubs and all different types of massages and things that was very accessible to do while I was in Asia. Uh, all right. So let's see, it's 7:30. Well, let's do prompt number two. Prompt number two. How often do I pause to express gratitude for the life I'm living right now? How often do I pause to express gratitude for the life I'm living right now? So the question is, how often do I pause to express gratitude for the life I'm living right now? And Miss Carolyn, she starts this off by saying, I breathe gratitude for the blessing of life and the wisdom to create what I need and want to keep joy in my heart and peace in my surroundings.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good to see everybody. So this was relatively easy as far as your questions usually go, Halana. So for me, um, gratitude has over time become like my default setting. It wasn't always that way. Um, like yesterday, I had to turn off my phone because my phone was doing wonky stuff. It was calling folks. I didn't ask it to call. It was recording stuff. I would say something and she would respond to me. And I'm like, I'm not talking to you. Sometimes I have to turn the phone off and turn it back on so it'll reset. Gratitude, when I pause and intentionally express gratitude, it acts as a reset for me. So sometimes it's like, um, it helps me, it's like it points me back in the right direction when I intentionally express gratitude for whatever it is. Um, and sometimes I can get real specific depending on what's going on at the time, like this gratitude for, like Carolyn said, and others in the circle are saying, just just for the gift of life, being able to see, to walk, to breathe, whatever that thing is, and then it just puts me in the right frame of mind again, because when I'm out in the public, I still work for a living or whatever the case may be. It's easy for me to get like a little to the left. So when I pause and intentionally express gratitude, sometimes just through breathing or whatever, just taking a look, it just resets my internal compass and it becomes my default again, so that I can be clear and 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 do things quote unquote the right way instead of like coming from a place that's like my phone like it's way off, it's broken. I don't want to come from a broken place, and when I'm not in gratitude I come from a broken place.
That's beautiful. I love that.
I'd like to share.
Yes.
I like that default setting and reset. When I wake up in the morning, I say thank you. That's the first thing I say. Sometimes while I'm still in the bed or when I place my foot on the floor to get up, because I'm grateful that I have another chance to get it right. And all throughout the day, I'm grateful. I mean, I see so many people who have trouble walking. They're using walkers or they're in wheelchairs or whatever. So I'm grateful that I can walk. I'm grateful. I have some pains, but the pains remind me that I'm alive, and I'm just all throughout the day, I'm grateful. I remember, I think it was Oprah years ago, someone on her show said something like, thank you is a prayer in and of itself. And so all throughout the day, I'm giving thanks and expressing gratitude. I have a gratitude journal. I use it off and on, but it's part of my daily behavior. So I'm really grateful. And I try to point out to other people too. When somebody complains about their job, I'll remind them, well, you have a job. So many people wish they had a job. Or when someone complains about having to write their, checks for their bills or whatever, I say, well, be grateful that you have the money to pay those bills. So it's I'm always grateful, and I try to remind myself, and I try to remind others as well. But thanks for that question.
Thank you for answering. I know for myself, but you mentioned people who are, to be grateful to just for the act of walking. I remember there was a point where I didn't have any energy to walk. And that's really how I came to be able to even do this this meditative writing circle. there was a point when my health was so bad, couldn't even muster up the energy to be able to get up and walk anywhere. So when I do things to be able to take care of my health, including doing writing expression and being creative and, making good food or going outside to walk and to run, that's an expression of gratitude. And I don't think I really even thought about it that way. I was just doing stuff to maintain health. But it is an expression of gratitude. Because if I didn't do those things, then it's very easy for me to be to revert back to what it is that I came from. But trust, I'm absolutely grateful to be able to have the ability to be able to walk and to be able to walk with energy, to have energy. That's a huge thing. So many people don't have any energy.
I remember learning a poem when I was in little girl. I complained because I had no shoes, and then I met a man who had no feet. And it goes on like that. And it reminds you that you're blessed. Please
Absolutely.
forgive me when I whine. I'm blessed indeed. The world is mine.
Mhm.
Yeah, I I kind of
Good
had a little.
morning, Najee.
Good morning. I had a little difficulty with this one too. I had some problems with the first one as well, but I'm a little bit easier, or rather, a little bit better at expressing gratitude. I think it's because I try to weave it into moments in my life. Uh, I heard this thing back in high school. Someone said like, if we could all throw our problems in a big pile, you'd probably grab yours back first. And I try to remember that, honestly. I try to remember that. I think because I often get caught in like a grind mindset, I don't think about even my accomplishments as accomplishments. It's just like, okay, good, that's done. Now what's next? Um, but I also try to surround myself with people because I think I mentioned this before, but I feel the most complete when I'm around people. And sometimes it's a matter of like, well, it's like seeing other people's issues too, and just realizing like, oh right, like it's like we're all on different paths, and sometimes somebody not being past a certain point isn't indicative of them, it isn't indicative of their intelligence or their growth or anything. We're just different people. But it is nice sometimes to realize I'm glad I don't have that problem anymore.
Mhm. And I like that what you mentioned about if everybody threw all their problems in a circle, you'd be happy to just take whatever was yours back. Because when you do listen to other people's problems, you're just like, oh God, I don't have the tools to even be bothered with that one. So I'll gladly keep my problems and learn how to deal with it. That's a good way to be able to look at it.
I want to share, if you don't mind. Is it enough time?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm gonna be totally honest with you all. Last week when we had class, I was in the hospital.
Well,
And they thought I had a heart attack. I didn't. I have something that's a unique heart, something that's going on with me. However, they told me that I'm living my life right, everything is good. I didn't have any, they did an angiogram and everything's perfect. But the whatever's going on with me is a unique situation with the heart. I was so grateful for that because it kind of reinforced in me, okay, well, I'm living life, at least Western wise, I'm living life the right way. However, I had to, and for these last few days, sit back and start with the gratitude. And it's so funny because I thought I was doing it before, but man, I didn't realize that this is out of my control. Whatever's going on with me is out of my control. So if this happens again, there's nothing that I can kind of do about it. It's not because I didn't eat right or I didn't exercise or whatever. This is something out of my control. So for now, every single day, I see it in a different light. It's almost like I can't compare myself to someone who has a disease where they're dying, but it's very similar to that because I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to be fine, just to let you guys know I'm good. But it still gives you a chance to kind of sit back and say, hmm, okay, maybe I maybe need to put a little bit more into this, or maybe I need to relax from doing that. Why am I here? You know, a lot of those questions come up, but gratitude is huge. It's so big right now, and it's very interesting that you put that question in because that's what I've been going through since I was in last week. And I feel good on the end that I'm doing whatever it is that I'm supposed to be doing, and I didn't cause this to happen. However, it's like, wow, what's the lesson that I need to learn in this? Why is this occurring, and where's my lesson at? So thank you for that question.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing that.
Hmm.
Sakai, did you have a question or you wanted to share something?
I'll share.
Mhm.
On gratitude, life's ebbs and flows, daily occurrences. Yesterday, to see this sweet little newborn baby, oh my gosh, just fresh air, waves rolling over your feet, a child of mine laughing and being goofy, watching my 15-year-old son mature. He lost his cat yesterday, and he and his two friends took it on, saw these 15, 14-year-olds take the shovel and bury this little cat. Oh my gosh. Just to see the maturity of my son and his friends. I hated to see the kitten go, even more so he did. He was trying to be a big macho man, but the little kitten was so cute and frisky and athletic. I know he misses him, even though he didn't show it. But I have gratitude that when the vet came in and said that this little cat won't make it, glad it was my son's cat named Simba Jr. and not my son. And they handed us the box to take him home.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing that. Ms. Cowan shares to Fatia and everybody, cacao opens the heart physically and spiritually, and it tastes good too. It absolutely does open the heart. That's one of the things that I've learned here while being in Mexico, because cacao is such a central part of the culture here. I love how I go to every culture and I learn different ways of how local ways that people learn how to be able to heal themselves. It's a wonderful education.
And I heard also just a little, those little squares, especially the higher percentages
Mhm.
of that, like a quarter of that square every day prevents strokes.
Mhm.
Is cacao, is that chocolate?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, not a big chocolate fan.
unprocessed chocolate. So if you go to if you go to a health food store, go to a health food store because what you'll find in regular stores, it'll just be cocoa, but you want pure grade cacao.
Is there anything similar? I don't like the smell or the taste of chocolate. I'm one of those people, those rare people out there who don't do the chocolate thing. But I could try it.
You can use teas. I'm
Yeah.
sure Miss Carolyn has a ton of suggestions for teas.
And also, like I said, I didn't have a stroke or anything. It's
Mhm.
nothing like that. I had the signs of one, but that's not what it is. So
Mhm.
I work on my chakras though.
Mhm. So we'll go into prompt number 3 before we close. Do the ways I celebrate reflect who I truly am, or are they shaped more by outside expectations? Do the ways I celebrate reflect who I truly am, or are they shaped more by outside expectations? So the question is, where did I put it? Do the ways I celebrate reflect who I truly am, or are they shaped more by outside expectations? That's such a great question. What came to me for this? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Miss Cynthia.
I wrote, my celebrations, if when I have them, are now shaped by me. For so long, I was in a place where all of who I am became smothered, stifled, and not allowed to grow peacefully. In that space, celebration was frowned on, and grind and hustle of life was propelled. Now I'm learning to celebrate, and random moments of thankfulness, gratitude pop on the scene spontaneously. I am now committed to celebration, gratitude, and unbothered by the fabricated cares of life. That's it.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
I'd like to share.
Go ahead.
When I read the question, I thought, to thine own self be true. And I've been thinking about how I live my life in general, how much of what I do is for me and what reflects my values, and how often do I do things based on someone else's shoulds. I can create celebrations that make me feel good all by myself. And I thought of India Arie's song, Having a Private Party. I think from now on, I will establish the habit of celebrating every accomplishment instead of waiting for something I consider big. And I'm complete.
For myself, for the question, what I thought about was how I feel like I'm in a state of changing quickly. And maybe we all change quickly, but you just never really take the chance or the time to really be able to think about it, to think how quickly we change as people. And so it's worthwhile to be able to think about, is what I was doing to celebrate myself maybe a year ago, does that work for me today? And that it's okay to be able to change, to switch things up, to be able to check in with yourself and say, does this suit me today, or do I need something else?
Um, yeah, I had a lot easier of a time with this question. 'Cause even though if I might have difficulty remembering to do certain things or show gratitude to myself or remember like the position that I'm in is better than where I was, the question was do the way celebrate who I truly am, and I wrote always. That's one thing that I can be sure of. Like I heard that phrase, to thine own self be true, when I was older, or maybe a teenager. But what I heard as a kid was always just always be true to yourself, and like that part of that means that you do have to discover what you are. Let me read what I wrote because I'm just scattering. It's rarely healthy to pretend to be something that you're not in life. If I want to walk barefoot or feed geese while I'm out running or give money and pre-rolls to homeless people, that's me. And I think it's important to ask yourself why you're doing things the way that you're doing them. It isn't always a bad thing if sorry, why I cannot, my eyes. It isn't always a bad thing if you haven't examined every reaction or action that you take, but you can discover a lot about yourself when you do. Sometimes you can learn from other people and try things that you haven't heard of and discover that they have a positive effect on you too. And that's one of the many benefits of fellowship. And the distinction between doing things that way and simply following the example of someone else without reflecting on what's true to you is that when it feels natural to you, it becomes natural to you, and you won't have to think so much about it.
Mhm. Exactly. You don't have to think so hard about it when it comes from you, from yourself. I love that. Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll share. Um,
Yes,
I,
Sharon.
hi. I kind of mimic a lot of what was already said, but the one thing that the young man that just spoke, it was like I always say I have to be who I am. Through the years, you kind of people influence how you celebrate or how you reflect. But now I have to be who I am, authentically me. And so when I'm there, and as I do that now, it helps me become even the better me that I am moving forward. Always remembering that you just got to be grateful. So I mimic everything. And as I was writing mine, I looked down in the chat, what she had said in the chat. I said, she was in my head. She was saying what I was thinking and not being able to express. So yeah, so no, I am authentically me and how I express ways. That's what I say.
Thank you. One more?
I just want to say that I want to work more on understanding me enough to know like the answer to that question, to know in which ways I am authentically me and celebrating what I want. Because it seems like with me, it's a blur between am I celebrating for me or I'm celebrating from outside expectations. So I love the question because it makes me think about it.
Mhm. Yeah, same with me. I don't think I have a solid answer for the question, but it gives me a lot to be able to think about where my answer would be able to come from. All right. So we're at the top of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. I apologize for the screw up with the link. I was working too fast yesterday. But we had what, 17 people in here? This is the most I've ever had. So thank you so much. I appreciate you all for coming in. Thank you to Miss Carolyn for the questions. I appreciate you.
Love you.
Love you too, Miss Carolyn. Thank you for coming in on the road as you always do.
You will.
Thank you all for sharing your energy. This was great.
Yes.
Yes, great energy. The vibe
Thank you.
is so high here.
Mhm. Thank you for saying that, Miss Cynthia. I appreciate that.
A lot of food for thought.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. So thank you all. We'll come back again next week. We'll have another topic. If there's a topic that you want to be able to talk about, you don't have to send me a
See
question.
everybody. You all.
Have a good day. If there's a
Thank you.
topic that
Blessed.
you want to be able to share, you can just send your suggestions. Just send it to me via email, and I'll see what I can put together.
Thank you.
So thank you. Have a
Thank you
good
so
day.
much. Have a
I'll see
good
you
day,
next
everyone.
Alana.
Wednesday.
Have a good night. Have a
Bye.
good day. Bye-bye.
Sisters and my brother Najee, glad you're here, my brother.